The first screening of the final cut was supposed to be a celebration. Director Omar Naeem, the cast, and crew gathered to watch the finished film. Halfway through, Robin Williams stood up and walked out. Omar found him in the hallway, crying. "I can't watch this," Robin said. "My character spends the whole movie unable to let go of his past, trapped in other people's memories, obsessed with moments that can't be changed. I told you this movie was too close to how I feel. Watching it is like watching my own psychological autopsy." Omar realized he'd asked Robin to star in a film that was torturing him to watch. It was 2004, and Omar Naeem had written and would direct his first feature film, The Final Cut. The premise was darkly original. In the near future, people can have implants that record everything they see and hear throughout their lives. When they die, cutters edit these recordings into memorial videos, removing embarrassing or painful moments so families remember only the good parts. Robin Williams would play Alan Hackman, a cutter who's the best in the business because he has no emotional attachment to the footage he edits. He cuts ruthlessly, removing affairs, abuse, cruelty, anything that would disturb the carefully constructed memory of the deceased. But Alan has a secret. He's obsessed with a childhood memory he can't verify. A moment of potential guilt that may or may not have happened. He spends his life editing other people's pasts while unable to edit or escape his own. It was a role that required Robin to play someone emotionally shut down, haunted by memory, unable to let go of the past. Omar sent Robin the script, hoping but not expecting he'd be interested. Robin read it in one night and called Omar the next morning. "I need to do this film," Robin said. "But I also need to tell you something first. This script, the themes about memory, regret, not being able to let go of the past, it's dangerous territory for me." Omar was confused. "Dangerous how?" Robin was quiet for a moment. "I live with these thoughts every day. The things I wish I could forget. The moments I replay obsessively. The guilt over things I may or may not have actually done. Your character Alan is trapped in his past. I'm trapped in mine. Making this movie might do psychological damage." Omar didn't know how to respond to such raw honesty. "Robin, if this is going to hurt you, we can cast someone else. I don't want to cause you harm." "No," Robin said firmly. "I need to make it. Maybe playing someone this broken will help me understand why I can't let go of my own past. Maybe it'll be therapeutic." Omar agreed, but he felt uneasy. Robin had just warned him that the film could damage him, and Omar was agreeing to let it happen. Filming began in Vancouver in late 2003. From the beginning, Omar noticed Robin approach the role differently than his usual work. There was no improvisation, no spontaneity. Robin played Alan Hackman with complete emotional shutdown, monotone voice, dead eyes, mechanical movements. It was a technically brilliant performance, but watching Robin embody that level of emotional depth was disturbing. Mira Sorvino was playing a woman from Alan's past. She had several scenes with Robin and found the experience unsettling. "Robin was usually so present, so alive," Mira said later. "But as Alan, he was hollow. And between takes, he didn't come back fully. There was this deadness in his eyes that lingered." One day between setups, Mira found Robin sitting alone in his trailer, staring at nothing. "You okay?" she asked. Robin looked at her with that same dead expression. "I wish someone could edit my memories. Cut out all the pain, all the regrets, all the moments I can't stop replaying. This character has the job I wish existed." Mira felt chilled. "Robin, that's the character talking, right? Not you?" Robin's pause before answering told her everything. "I don't know anymore. The line is getting blurry." Jim Caviezel was playing Fletcher, a former cutter hunting Alan. He had several intense confrontation scenes with Robin about the ethics of editing people's memories, removing the truth to create comfortable lies. During one particularly heavy scene about guilt and whether we have the right to forget our sins, Robin delivered his lines with such raw pain that Jim forgot his own dialogue. After Omar called cut, Jim pulled the director aside. "Robin isn't acting in this movie," Jim said quietly. "Those lines about being haunted by your past, about wishing you could erase memories, he means them. This isn't a performance." Omar watched Robin between takes. Robin would sit alone, rewatching footage on the monitors, Scenes of Alan obsessively reviewing old memories, unable to move forward, trapped in the past. And Robin would watch with an expression that suggested he wasn't studying his performance. He was relating to it. The film's climax involves Alan finally confronting his childhood memory, the moment of guilt he's carried his whole life. He discovers the truth about what happened, and it destroys him. Not because the truth is what he feared, but because he realizes he's wasted his entire life running from a memory he couldn't even verify. Filming that sequence required Robin to portray a complete psychological breakdown. Alan's entire identity, built on guilt and shame over an unverified memory, collapses. Robin delivered it with such devastating authenticity that the crew was shaken. When Omar called cut, Robin stayed on the ground, curled in a fetal position, making sounds like someone whose mind had broken. It took several minutes before Robin could stand up. When he did, he looked at Omar and said, "I didn't have to act that. I just had to feel what I feel every day and stop hiding it." Omar felt sick. He was capturing an extraordinary performance, but at what cost? He was asking Robin to repeatedly access his deepest pain, his most destructive thought patterns, for the sake of a movie. Production wrapped in early 2004. Robin returned to his life, but people close to him noticed he seemed different. Darker. More withdrawn. The post-production process took several months. Omar edited the film, added visual effects, completed the sound design. By summer 2004, he had a finished cut ready to show. Omar organized a private screening for the cast, crew, and key stakeholders. It was meant to be a celebration. The first time everyone would see the completed film together. Robin arrived at the screening looking tired. He sat in the back with Marcia, his wife at the time. The lights went down, and the film began. For the first 30 minutes, Robin watched quietly. But Omar, sitting several rows ahead, kept glancing back and noticed Robin was getting increasingly agitated. Shifting in his seat, rubbing his face. Looking away from the screen. 45 minutes into the film, during a scene where Alan obsessively reviews the same childhood memory for the 100th time, unable to let it go, Robin suddenly stood up and walked out. The screening continued. Some people glanced at the door Robin had exited through, but the film kept playing. Marcia followed Robin out a moment later. Omar tried to focus on the screening, but his mind was on Robin. What had caused him to leave? Was he sick? Was the film bad? When the screening ended, there was polite applause. Omar accepted congratulations, but his attention was elsewhere. As soon as he could, he left the theater to find Robin. He found him in the hallway, sitting on the floor against the wall, his head in his hands. Marcia was sitting next to him, her hand on his back. She looked at Omar and shook her head slightly, a warning not to approach yet. Omar waited. After a few minutes, Marcia stood up, said something quietly to Robin, and walked away to give them privacy. Omar sat down next to Robin. "What happened?" Robin's voice was hollow. "I can't watch this. I told you before we started, this movie is too close to how I actually feel. But I thought I could handle it. I thought seeing it finished, seeing it as a story separate from me would create distance." "It didn't?" Omar asked, though he already knew the answer. "It made it worse," Robin said. "Watching Alan obsess over his past, unable to let go, editing other people's memories while being tortured by his own, that's not fiction for me. That's my life. My character spends the whole movie trapped in memories he can't change, and I spend every day doing the same thing." Omar felt guilt wash over him. "Robin, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have made you do this film." "You didn't make me," Robin said. "I chose to. You asked if it would hurt me, and I said yes, but did it anyway. But watching it, seeing my own psychological patterns played out on screen, seeing how destructive and futile it all is, it's like watching my own psychological autopsy. Like seeing my brain cut open and all the broken parts put on display." The phrase, psychological autopsy, hit Omar hard. It was the perfect description of what the film had become, a dissection of Robin's damaged relationship with memory, regret, and the past. "Should we cancel the release?" Omar asked. "If this is hurting you this much?" Robin laughed bitterly. "And throw away 2 years of work? No. The film is good. It's important. It says something true about memory and grief and how we torture ourselves with the past. It's just that the truth it's telling is mine, and watching it is unbearable." They sat in silence for a moment. "I can't go back in there," Robin said. "I can't watch the rest." "Can you tell people I got sick? Don't tell them the real reason." "Of course," Omar said. Robin stood up, still unsteady. "Finish the screening. Celebrate. The film is good. I'm just too close to it to see it as art instead of confession." He left. Omar went back to the screening room where people were mingling, asking where Robin had gone. Omar lied, said Robin had felt ill and had to leave. The final cut was released in October 2004 to mixed reviews. Critics praised Robin's performance as haunting and deeply unsettling. Roger Ebert wrote, "Williams disappears completely into Alan Hackman, creating a character of such profound emotional damage that watching him is painful." What Ebert didn't know was that the pain wasn't performed. It was real, and it had been so real that Robin couldn't even watch the finished film. The movie was a commercial failure, making less than $2 million at the box office. Robin did minimal press for it. In the few interviews he gave, he was careful in his words but clearly uncomfortable. "Alan Hackman is the most emotionally damaged character I've ever played," Robin said in one interview. "Someone completely cut off from the present because he's trapped in the past. It was a difficult role because I understood him too well." The interviewer asked what he meant by too well. Robin's answer was careful but honest. "We all have things we wish we could forget. Moments we replay obsessively, wondering if we could have done something different. Alan has a technology that can edit memories, but he can't edit his own. I don't have that technology either, but I wish I did." So playing Alan meant living in that space, the space of being haunted by your own past and unable to escape it. Years later, people who worked on the final cut talked about Robin's intensity during production. Mira Sorvino mentioned his comment about wishing someone could edit his memories. Jim Caviezel talked about Robin's pain feeling too real to be acting. And Omar Naim carried guilt. He'd made a film that had clearly damaged Robin psychologically, despite Robin's warnings. After Robin's death in 2014, Omar gave an interview where he talked about the final cut for the first time with complete honesty. "Robin warned me before we started filming," Omar said. "He told me the themes of the movie, being unable to let go of the past, being haunted by memories, obsessing over guilt, were dangerous for him. He said making the movie might do psychological damage. And I let him do it anyway." The interviewer asked if Omar regretted making the film. "Every day," Omar said. "Robin walked out of our first screening because he couldn't watch his own psychological autopsy." Those were his words. "He'd warned me the film would hurt him, and he was right. But I was so focused on making the movie that I didn't protect him from it." Omar continued. "The final cut is about a man who can't let go of his past, who spends his entire life editing other people's memories while being tortured by his own. I thought I was making a science fiction thriller. I didn't realize I was making a documentary of Robin's internal struggle. Or maybe I did realize it and made the film anyway because the performance would be extraordinary." The film has gained a cult following in the years since Robin's death. People watch it now with the knowledge of Robin's confession, that watching the film was like watching his own psychological autopsy. The performance hits differently with that context. The pain feels more real because it was real. The scene where Alan obsessively reviews the same childhood memory over and over, unable to let go, unable to move forward, Robin wasn't acting that obsession. He was living it. The scene where Alan breaks down, realizing he's wasted his life running from memories he couldn't verify, Robin's devastation wasn't performed. It was felt. The entire film, which was supposed to be about the ethics of editing memories and creating comfortable lies about the dead, became instead a document of Robin's relationship with his own past. His inability to let go. His obsessive replaying of moments. His wish that someone could edit his memories and remove the pain. Omar Naim had asked Robin Williams to star in a film about being trapped in your own past. Robin had warned him it was dangerous. Robin had told him it might do damage. Robin had predicted he wouldn't be able to watch it. And Omar made the film anyway. Because the performance would be extraordinary. Because the film would be important. Because art sometimes requires sacrifice. But when Robin walked out of that screening, unable to watch his own psychological autopsy, Omar understood what had been sacrificed. Not just Robin's emotional comfort during filming, but something deeper. His ability to maintain distance between his own pain and the character's pain. The final cut was supposed to be science fiction. Instead, it became one of the most painfully honest portraits of Robin Williams' internal struggle ever captured on film. Not because Omar intended it that way, but because Robin couldn't help but bleed his own truth into every frame. And when Robin told Omar, "This is like watching my own psychological autopsy," he was articulating something that wouldn't be fully understood until years after his death, that the film had dissected his damaged relationship with memory, regret, and the past, and put it on screen for everyone to see. Robin had warned him. Omar had proceeded anyway. And both of them paid a price, Robin in psychological pain, Omar in guilt that would last the rest of his life. That's not just making a movie. That's asking someone to perform their own pain, and then being unable to protect them from watching themselves suffer.